Episode 239 of the Outdoor Biz Podcast with outdoor photographer and writer Colleen Miniuk. Brought to you this month by Koalatry. Koalatry designs eco-minded gear and apparel for the adventurer in everyone. From athletes and photographers to your average city folks and weekend warriors. Summiting the tallest peaks or lounging around town with friends, their products are practical, stylish, and functional. Visit theoutdoorbizpodcast.com/Koalatry and grab something stylish for your next peak bag adventure or late-night pizza run. Visit theoutdoorbizpodcast.com/Koalatry. Koalatry is Coalatree. Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're going to talk with Colleen Miniuk. Colleen is an outdoor writer and photographer and has a new all-women's photography workshop she calls Sheography. Welcome to the show, Colleen.
Hey, how's it going? Thanks so much for having me.
It's going great. How's it going there? Now, where in the world are you? Where am I calling you today?
I am calling from the Colleen Miniuk Photography and Writing World Headquarters in Chandler, Arizona,
Nice.
which is a suburb outside of Phoenix.
Yeah,
Yep.
Cool. Awesome. How's the weather there? It's been warm, I bet.
It is definitely not fall-like on the first day of fall. It's still above 100 degrees Fahrenheit.
Oof.
And we did have a little drop of rain today, which is very, very exciting for
Nice.
us.
Well, send some our way. We need it.
Yes, for sure. In
Yeah.
Bishop, you most certainly do with all the wildfires.
Yeah,
so.
we always need it in Bishop just because it's, dry area. But yeah, especially with these fires. It's smoky again today, but we'll survive.
Right on.
Yeah.
We'll work something out.
Awesome. Cool. Yeah, I appreciate that. So let's start off with how you were introduced to the outdoors. How'd that come about?
Sure. Yeah, I was a bit of a latecomer to the whole outdoor game. I was born in Ohio, and then my parents moved about 10 weeks after I was born to Little Rock, Arkansas.
Oh, wow.
And I didn't end up sleeping in a tent until 1997 in Joshua Tree. So that when I was 22. So I wasn't formally introduced into the outdoors until my early 20s. But in hindsight, when I look at how I grew up on a creek that bordered a forest, and we built tree houses, and we played in the dirt, and we kissed frogs, and we chased snakes. And so my upbringing was very wild until we moved. When I was 8, we moved to the Chicago area, and
Oh, wow.
I was introduced to winter and a whole slew of other things that really kept me more indoors until 1997, when my now ex-husband and my college roommate took me out on a hiking expedition and a backpacking trip.
Cool. In Joshua Tree. Cool.
In Joshua Tree. Yep,
Yeah,
that was
yeah.
the first time overnight in a tent.
Very
Other
cool.
than the one time, I think my dad tried to get me to sleep in a tent when I was like 4 or 5 and in the backyard.
Yeah.
And all it was like, what was that? What was that? What was that?
Yeah, no sleeping, right?
No, there was no sleeping.
Right.
So.
And so I was reading your bio, too. It says you left corporate life for photography. What was it about corporate life that drove that change?
So I was a software engineer with Intel Corporation for just about 10 years. I did everything but coding.
No.
And it really, getting the job with Intel was all a part of, chasing success, chasing happiness, chasing the American dream. And so coming out of college, I was doing what I thought was the right thing to do to become an independent female and take care of myself and make a lot of money. And so I ended up taking the job with Intel, which is why I'm in Arizona, actually, in Chandler. And, Intel is a phenomenal company. It was a really strong company. There were a lot of talented people there, a lot of great people there, but it just was so intense. And when I look back, I always was trying to find my way there. And I tried different jobs, I tried different positions, and it just never felt right.
Didn't
so
fit, huh?
yeah, in 2001, which was about 5 years after I started actually having some health problems. I started having some back problems, some neck problems,
Wow.
and it was all stress related, which
That's interesting. Yeah, I can relate to
and
that.
So my mom told me I needed to get a life in the most loving way. Bless her soul. I love my mother is so honest. I love it.
That's great.
And she handed me a brochure to the Chandler Gilbert Community College for an intro to photography class. And I had really never picked up a camera before.
Wow.
And as soon as I took, unless you count the ones that you bought like at Walgreens, the disposable ones right before you went on vacation.
You didn't pick up a camera, but did you have an appreciation for the art of photography? Did you have it hanging in your walls or anything? Or?
No.
None. Okay.
Nothing.
Okay. Yeah,
like,
got you.
No, very
Nothing.
out of the blue. I mean, my whole background, my whole upbringing is really academics and athletics. I played volleyball in college. And so I did, to be honest, it sounds really bad, but I just didn't have time for it.
Sure.
Like I just was so focused on achieving and,
you're driven, right. Trying to make it happen.
Yeah.
Right?
So I'm trying to think if there was really, I think, I was in chorus when I was in 7th grade, maybe, and I was the flying purple people leader. But other than that, I did gymnastics and ballet. And so that was a little bit more artistic, but it came to visual arts and things. I guess I did some music. I played the piccolo and the flute growing up, but in terms of visual art, no, I didn't really know anything about photography at all.
So you took that course just completely go see what it's all about, and it hooked you.
Yeah, it hooked me on the first day. It's somewhat embarrassing to
no,
admit,
that's cool.
I still have the outfit I wore on the first day of class in my closet because it reminds me that I never forget where I came from. It just was that when I was in that class. Do you ever have these moments where you just sit there and you're like, something's happening? And this is amazing. And that's what it was. I didn't know it would bring me. I didn't know it'd end up here.
Yeah.
But it was that profound for me in that first day. And so what happened is that became all consuming. And so I started selling my work in 2003 at art shows as kind of a joke, as I wonder what would happen if I tried this. And it worked. Yeah. And then I started getting published in 2006. And by 2007, I was traveling so much. I was essentially out of all of my vacation, and nobody believed me that my grandmother died 3 times in January. And so in February of 2007, I ended up walking out of corporate life. And it was about a 2-year transition to really figure out how to make that happen, how to make this work. And I had a lot of support with that. But when I right now, this is most certainly my path. And of course it changes and it evolves, and there's new challenges and there's new things. But when I look at my position at Intel, that was, what I was supposed to do. That fit all of the expectations, that checked all the boxes, and I was miserable. And to bring this into, I'm still using business, skills and all of that.
Sure, exactly. Yeah, those never go away.
Life.
Right. Especially if you're running a business. Yeah. Where was that first class taken? Where were you?
It's just down the street at Chandler Gilbert Community College. Wow. It's literally 10 minutes down the road from me.
And did you guys go out into was it outdoors plus, black and white type photography, or what was it? The intro to photography, just basics. This is a camera.
It was such a great
the black and white, the dark room, black and white.
Black and white, traditional darkroom. So what we would do is we'd get some instruction, and it was on Saturday morning, and there were other adults in the class. So it made it super fun. They were really supportive of everything that everybody was doing and trying and learning. And so I would bring a really crappy picture in, but it'd be the first picture of, F-16 that I'd ever done in my life. Right. And they'd all be very excited about it. And so, cool. That was, I think that really made a difference in how supportive they were. But we'd get a little assignment once a week, and then we'd go out and shoot in the desert, and then we'd, process the negatives and have critiques. And it just was really interactive. There were some field trips involved in that too, but it was really fun.
I took one of those courses at a local junior college when I was growing up. Same thing. I think it's a standard photography course that they all offer, but we can talk about this later, some of the workshops you do, but going into a workshop is great for your skills and your morale and all those things, like you say, because you get such great feedback that you don't get on your own. It's good.
Exactly. Yeah. If you're willing and open to the learning that happens and trying new things, it's really very beneficial to your, if you're a hobbyist or your career, depending on what you're looking at. So
how did you know you wanted to become an outdoor content creator? Other than, because you write great books, take great pictures. How did you know that was going to be the next path? Or did you just kind of discover it over, was it a slow transition, or did the lightning bolt hit you? This is what I'm going to do.
it's been a sequence of discovery, curiosity, and discovery. A lot of it, if it sounds interesting and fun, I'll try it. And if it works out, I'll keep doing it.
Right.
But one of the things that's kind of interesting about my path is that my senior year in college, I took, throughout college, both at Stanford and at the University of Michigan in Ann Arbor, almost all of my electives were writing related, writing classes, which at the time it didn't seem like a big deal, but of course now I look back, it is. My senior year in college, I actually made a declaration that I wanted to write a book someday. I just didn't know what to write about. And so I feel like the photography has really brought me back into the writing. How I got into the writing was just a function of wanting to be more influential with my voice. And, when I was doing the art shows, I loved when people bought a single image and made the decision to put it over their fireplace. But then I started getting more engaged with the outdoors, getting engaged with other people and different issues and different locations. And I felt like I could have a broader voice. And that's partly why I started submitting my work to magazines. And then I started submitting my work, photography with the writing so that I could expand the story a little bit more. And then it just got into books. And then my whole life is just one big snowball. Like, it's just like,
we all do that, though, I think. Yeah, I think we all, when you look back on it, all the things you've done and you realize, I mean, I don't know, maybe I'm the same way and I don't realize that there are people that have it all planned out. And there are, I get that. But a lot of us, just life happens and all these paths present themselves and you choose to go or you don't. But it just, it happens. So you do a bunch of workshops. One of them, or maybe they're all called Sheography. That's the brand for your workshops. That sounds pretty cool. What inspired that?
Yeah, so I do both co-ed and all-women workshops. Okay. And my all-women workshops are branded Sheography. And it's a conceptual blend of, she and photography.
Yeah, love it. Gotcha. Yeah, that's cool. That's great.
Sheography.
Yeah.
The slogan's putting the her and photographer.
Nice. Oh, cool.
But I've been teaching photography workshops for some time. I actually love teaching just as much as I like making my own work. I love helping other people not only get outside, but also be able to express themselves in the outdoors. And so I've been teaching co-ed workshops, but I started teaching Sheography workshops. I started teaching all women's workshops in 2008 when I started noticing women were learning differently in my Becoming an Outdoor Women outdoor photography class. I used to teach at the local Bow here in Arizona, and just they were asking different questions. They were offering each other support. They were very open about sharing their challenges and their fears and about being outside and being female and all sorts of different things that women in the outdoors face. And so I ended up starting the Sheography brand officially in 2016. So it's relatively new, but I've been teaching the all women's workshops since 2008.
That's great. I love it. And is there a specific website for that, or is it on your other website?
Of course.
Cool,
there's it's www.sheography.com.
Cool. We'll link that in the show notes. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. It's really about just inspiring women.
Right.
To be confident in the outdoors and feel,
And do you do them around the country, around the world, or are they localized to Arizona?
I started just doing locally in Arizona, but I've expanded throughout the United States. And one of the fun things that I do, if the location allows it, is we rent a single house.
Nice.
Like an 11, 12 bedroom house. And so we all get to stay together.
Great
and so
idea.
it becomes this like girls weekend out kind of thing. And the camaraderie is exciting. It's invigorating.
That's
it's
huge.
Refreshing. It just kind of gets us out of the day to day and gets us into more of a creative mindset. They're so much fun. So much fun.
I can imagine. Yeah. So from photography to writing and the workshops, which do you find the most enjoyable? Do you lean one way or the other, or do you just love it all?
I love it all. I mean, the whole reason I do what I do is to help people get outside. And for me, that's multidimensional.
Yeah.
Like, through my photographies, people can get inspired. Through the writing,
Right.
hopefully in the guidebooks that I write, it gives them ideas on how to get out there and what to do. And then the workshops is more of a hands-on, field-based experience. It's an adventure. It's getting people out there, like,
It's a really good way to learn too. When you actually go out and, are in the environment and then you go back and critique the work, it's a really great way to learn, I think. That's what I find.
It's a very fast way to learn.
Yeah.
It's a very fast way to learn.
Because you can go back out the next morning and fix what you didn't do right.
And fix
what
it.
You didn't know. Right. Exactly. Right.
Exactly.
Yeah. Do you incorporate writing into those workshops too?
I have. I've actually partnered with my dear friend Guy Tall. We've actually done a lens and pens workshop where we did writing for photographers.
Yeah.
I also incorporate a lot of poetry, specifically haiku. My community will love that I've mentioned the haiku exercise where we pair our haikus with our photographs and vice versa. So
that's fun.
Yeah, I do
cool.
try it. And I think in part it's if we just focus on one type of creative outlet, we can get bored, we can get stuck. And by poking different parts of the brain, Einstein, I think, called it, and I this word is so hard for me to say, combinatory play, where you do a different activity and it inspires your primary activity. So I do a lot of other things that are not photography related to help my photography or my writing. Yeah. And so, I take adult ballet, for example, and I stand up paddleboard and I love listening to music. And so all of those things influence how I see and experience the world. And so it becomes much broader. And the writing, when we introduce that into the photography workshops, it really just pokes the brain from a slightly different perspective, and it usually triggers some pretty interesting ideas.
I can imagine. I'll bet. Yeah, that sounds fun. Yeah. How about some mentors? Who are some mentors that have helped you along the way? Either photographers or writers, both?
Oh goodness, there's just so many. There's so many, and there's so many big names. Everything from like Pulitzer Prize winner Jack Kinga. Yeah. All the Arizona Highways photographers, like the Munches, Galen Rowell, who's from your neck of the woods. Galen Rowell is a big, big influence on me. Mm-hmm. And of course, kind of the father of outdoor photography, Ansel Adams was a big influence on my work, especially early, and especially early on. But I've also been influenced by a lot of people who not necessarily have a name that I remember. I really feel like I can learn from everybody and everyone. And so I feel like I've been influenced by a lot of people. But there is one story I should say that when I left Intel, one of the biggest mentorships comes from the Outdoor Writers Association of America. Okay. Mm-hmm. And when I was in 2007, when I left my job, I was very set, like make money, like survival mode. Yeah. And so I ended up actually photographing everything but landscape photography and outdoor photography, which was weird because that's how I got out of my job. Like it was kind of a weird decision. But anyway, I thought that I needed to do everything. So I photographed commercially, like architecture, landscape architecture, jewelry, food, soccer, golf. Wow. Yeah. I mean, like anything, senior portraits, like anything people would throw at me, I'd pretty much say yes. And I was making a lot of money, but I was just really like, wow, this is definitely not what I left my job for. Like,
what? I think a lot of us do that. I did the same thing when I was first trying to turn my photography into a business. Right? Same thing. Shot everything. And then you realize, I don't like senior portraits.
I don't like this.
I don't like doing this, Yeah. No, I think a lot of us have done that. Yeah. It's interesting.
Well, so what the big turning point for me was in 2010, I was invited to speak at an OWAA conference in Rochester, Minnesota. And I had never heard of the organization before. I just had been invited to talk. I think it was about visualization and photography, something of that sort. And when I walked into that conference, I saw hundreds of people being successful in outdoor communication, and my jaw dropped. Yeah. I was like, wait a minute.
It's quite a group.
I mean, if they can do this, like, why can't I piece this together? Mm-hmm. And so in 2010, when I walked out of that conference, I dropped all of my commercial clients except for one, which was a friend of mine from Intel. And I started down the road of outdoor photography and writing exclusively. And so that for me was a pretty big inflection point in my career. And so I could attribute so many people in that organization as my mentors, you know, to help me start a blog, to help me figure out how to self-publish and start a publishing company, and, you know, how to be a better writer and how to be a better photographer, all of those things. So that was, OWAA was really instrumental in at least my outdoor content specifically.
And I didn't participate in the virtual workshop or the virtual conference they had. Did you participate in that this time around? It looks like it was a great thing. Yeah, cool. Yeah, good.
I did. Yeah, I'm on the board of directors and I'm involved in a bunch of committees. So I actually helped plan that.
Oh, good. Okay, cool. Good. Well, you guys did a great job. Yeah. Yeah.
It was, you know, we're trying to do the best we can, right? I mean, the in-person conferences are second to none. They're amazing. It's so great to see all of our friends and get new ideas. But the virtual conference was taking advantage of the opportunity, the cards that we were presented this year. And so I thought it came over really well. We had really great participation, some great interaction. It was really fun for what we're going through.
Yeah, I think I was traveling or something. I'm definitely going to plug back into that next time. But yeah, I think, you know, who knows how this is going to go down moving forward. I mean, I spent a lot of my life at trade shows, and those are definitely going to change. I mean, I think A, from just the group gatherings, and B, from the way business is done, they weren't working the last couple of years. So, or last few years,
this is an opportunity.
Actually. Yeah, totally. Yeah, exactly. I agree. Yeah.
Really an opportunity to reevaluate what was working, what wasn't working, and make some changes.
Exactly. And adapt. And I think it's forcing. I was talking to somebody the other day how our society and our country is just old. We're doing things the same way we did them when I was a kid. You know, there's nothing that's really. And if you're plugged into photography and podcasting and all these things, you really learn about some new digital tools, a new way of doing things, and just you know, we go to the bank the same way we've been going to the bank. I mean, sure, the bank's online, but it's not any different. You know, I mean, just supermarkets, for example. So there's all kinds of things that I think this is going to force our society to really use these digital technologies and adapt. It's a good thing in many ways, as bad as it is, but.
It's certainly shaking things up.
Yeah.
It sure is.
So, in addition,
I look at it as an opportunity.
I agree. I'm with you. Yeah, totally agree. Yeah. In addition to the OWAA, are there any other nonprofit groups you work with? Support? I'm sure you support a bunch, but
I certainly
we all do.
Support a lot of outdoor related nonprofits, of course, because it's what we know and love. You know, before the whole pandemic thing hit, I was planning on starting a new book project with American Rivers and the Friends of the Yampa, really around outdoor adventure stories focused on the Colorado River basin, the Colorado River system, just to try to raise more awareness of what's going on with the Colorado River. Colorado River is kind of my backyard, you know, here in Arizona. And so, and the Colorado River has become near and dear to my heart over the last 4 or 5 years for a variety of reasons. And so I'm getting more and more engaged with water related issues, which we certainly have out here in the West. Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah. I've read a couple of great books about the Colorado and the water scene. It's just, oh my God, it's impressive and sad at the same time. Interesting. Do you have a favorite?
There's a lot going on.
Well, Anna, it's a lot been going on for a long time. I mean, it started a long time ago and still going on, still changing, and it's crazy. We're going to take a little break and give some love to our sponsor, Wolfgang Man Beast. Wolfgang Man Beast celebrates the unique relationship between dogs and their people. They offer American-made leashes and collars for your pup using only the finest American leathers and textiles, plus a distinctive collection of t-shirts and hats for you. Built domestically and transported minimally, they'll be replaced rarely. Visit theoutdoorbizpodcast.com/Wolfgang and get your pup a new leash or collar today. I see tails wagging furiously in your future. Now, back to the show. Do you have a favorite location that you just love to go to, you like going to repeatedly, or you just love trying new things? Which is your jam?
Oh, that's that's tough. Both, a little of both. Of
Uh-huh,
course, anything water related, anything river related,
Okay.
lake or coast. So I spent, and the water thing really came from my time in Acadia. I was an artist in residence for Acadia National Park in Maine, which is on like the totally opposite side of the country.
Beautiful spot.
Oh, it's amazing. It's so
Yeah.
beautiful. Yeah. So I was an artist in residence there 3 times. I loved it so much they couldn't get rid of me. And that really triggered my love of water. And so when I came back from those experiences, and what I took away from those experiences is that I needed to focus my work, both photography and writing, more on water. And so anything river, lake, coast, anything involving water, that's my jam for
cool.
sure.
Have you obviously been rafting then, whitewater rafting, and have you been down to Colorado?
I was just down to Colorado 3 weeks ago.
Nice.
And that was my 5th time in 5 years.
I have not been. I'm a former river guide, and I got to get on that. It's
Are you?
Yeah, I got
we
on the
should
current.
talk.
Yeah.
I applied to be a river guide on the Grand Canyon this year, and of course, with the whole pandemic, it didn't quite work out. But I'm going to apply again next year. And
cool!
Fingers crossed that I can be a river guide. When I grow up, or
super fun. I tell you, it's the
but
best 6 years of my life. I just had a blast. Yeah, it was.
I'd love to learn more.
So much fun.
The Colorado River through the Grand Canyon is just one of the most epic things, and I do a lot of epic things, but it's one of the most epic things. It's you're disconnected from the manufactured world. You're plunged into the real world where you're living in every moment. It's just, it's fantastic. So
I love it. I got it on the Kern and we ran all the rivers in the West, though. We did the American and the Green and the San Juan. Never the Colorado, though. It was interesting, but
nice,
super cool.
Nice. I was on the Green River. I was on Lador last year. I was actually on 6 rivers last year.
Wow, good for you.
Yeah, but I haven't been out to the Kern or American yet. Rogue, that kind of California, Oregon area is something I definitely want to get more involved in.
Have you been to Alaska yet?
I've been to Alaska. I haven't been rafting in Alaska. Yeah.
Tatchachini is a beautiful river. I took a group up there, years ago. Beautiful river to do. Yeah.
I can only imagine just the remoteness, the backcountry, just the wildness of it all in Alaska. Everything is wild and everything is grand there.
Yeah. We were sitting at camp one day, me and my buddy, and the group was getting anxious and it was kind of raining and they wanted to go for a walk. And we were like, well, I don't know. We're going to hang here and, get camp organized. You guys go. They were going to go to this peak. They say, we're just going to go over to that peak. Okay, you guys go ahead. And the peak, what you don't realize in Alaska is that peak that looks so close is days away, And they came back at like 4:00 and said, we didn't get anywhere near that peak. We had a nice walk.
But we saw it, and it looked pretty.
Pretty funny. Yeah, pretty impressive.
That's definitely Alaska.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Do you have any suggestions or advice for folks wanting to get into the outdoor photography and writing business?
Yeah, I mean, you keyed on it with the last word, the business
side. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
it's different.
I have a bachelor. Yeah, it is different. Like, if you don't want to be a starving artist, you have to treat it as an entrepreneurial endeavor. You have to treat it like a full-time business. And so, understanding sales, understanding, marketing, understanding how to come up with a business plan, how to do accounting, all of those things, unless you're making enough money to outsource. You're a one-person show.
Yeah.
You run the circus. So
that's right. That's right.
You got to juggle all the balls. And so for me, I've moved into a more artistic space, with my outlet, my creative outlet, but I'm probably using my business administration degree far more now than I ever did at Intel. And so I would encourage people to learn the business side, take a marketing class. And if you're not excited about those aspects of the business, then find people, surround yourself with people who are and who can help you. Yep.
Yeah, and figure out a way to make enough money so you can pay those people, because that's, if you don't like it, then make sure you get into the artistic and sales side of it so you don't have to do it, but you can get it done, because it still needs to be done.
Right.
Yeah.
It has to get done.
It
has to get done,
whether
you want it to or not.
There's
plenty of aspects of the business that I'm not really that excited about, like paying taxes on a monthly basis. But you gotta go in with a good attitude. The reason I pay monthly taxes, retail tax, is because I'm selling books and I'm selling things. Right. And so that's that's an advantage. And so, part of it is just having an open mind, being curious about things, and having a good attitude with all of it. Yeah. Especially when things are new and uncomfortable, like the business side is for a lot of creatives. It's not comfortable. Yeah. And vice versa. People, like me, who have the business side, the creative side is always a challenge, and I'm always working on that. So it's all about balance.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah. If you were able to hang a banner at the entrance to one of the outdoor trade shows, outdoor retailer, or one of the other ones, what would it say?
Okay, let's see. On one side, I would put go with the flow, but keep your paddle all in. And on the other side, I would put you can sleep when you're dead. Those are kind of my two mottos.
I like it. Cool, I like it.
My two mottos, and they kind of work together. But if you look at just 2020 alone, and in any time, we're going to be facing challenges, and so it's really important. You can have a business plan, but like this year, anything you plan went right out the window. And so you kind of got to go with the flow, but you got to keep paddling and look at these challenges as opportunities to grow and to try new things and to help people in new and different ways. And that's what I've tried to do this year. So I'd encourage other people to do that. And of course, then you can sleep when you're dead. You can sleep when you're dead fits in with that, which is, you got to keep most of the one life you've got, right?
Yeah, you got to keep moving forward. Yeah, keep doing stuff and getting out there and trying stuff, because the more things you throw at the wall, the more things are going to stick. But if you stop throwing stuff at the wall, then nothing's going to happen. Yeah. Yeah,
I mean, sitting on the couch eating Doritos, feeling sorry for yourself is maybe comfortable for like an hour and a half. Right. Do what you need to do, but then it's not a great place to be if you're going to try and be in business in this industry. It's too competitive. It moves too fast. Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's just too much going on.
And the world moves too fast today. I mean, technology and everything's just changing. Yeah. Do you have any daily routines you use to keep your sanity? Meditate, exercise. You get a lot of exercise, I'm sure. Walk the dog, kick the dog.
Yeah, let's see. Routine is kind of an interesting word. No, I don't have a lot of routines. I do have to have my tea or coffee in the morning. Mm-hmm. And if I am at home, I have to go outside at least one time a day. Like I can't stay behind the computer.
Yeah, yeah.
But other than that, my sanity really comes from just being outside I have an Alaskan camper, so I do a lot of camping, car camping in backcountry places. Stand-up paddleboarding is my favorite thing to do in the whole world. So I'll find a lake or a river and go paddling. But there's nothing really routine about being a freelancer. Every day is different. Every day is a new mix, and it changes too fast, and there's too many things going on. So. Yeah. That keeps me sane, though, I think. That's right.
Yeah, variety. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
The variety definitely keeps me sane. Yeah, I love it. I love it.
Yeah. I can tell. It comes through. It comes shining through. That's great. Do you have any favorite books or books you give as gifts?
Oh, well, I'm going to give everybody my books.
Of course. That's what I do.
For those people who enjoy guidebooks, of course, trying to get people outside in Arizona for the wildflowers and wildlife, for example. And then I have a guidebook for photographing Acadia.
Oh, cool.
I have a second edition coming out next year. It was supposed to come out this year, but with all the COVID stuff, plans change.
Yeah.
But there are... I do love reading, and there are some really amazing books. I would start with Katie Lee. All My Rivers Are Gone. It's kind of her journal. She's a very feisty woman. It's her journal, kind of cataloging her experiences with loss of the Glen Canyon area, right, exactly. The Lake Powell area. She's a firecracker. Another female author that I love is Ellen Malloy. She wrote Raven's Exile, which is also sort of, it's her experiences on the Green River. I don't know if you've caught that book.
No, I'll check
Great
that out.
book. She can turn a word and she can turn a plot. But
cool.
I think on the guy's side, I would say Craig Child's Secret Knowledge of Water, and Kevin Fedarko, The Emerald Mile.
Oh my God, that has become my favorite book of all time.
Epic.
Yeah, that is. Yeah. And great. I think not only the epic part of the running of the river, trying to break that record, but he did a great job capturing the history of what went on down there.
Yes.
I thought,
Yes.
it's just phenomenal. Yeah.
It's quite an adventure tale with that whole, is it 1983 and like everything that was happening with the water level rising and the dam and the river. Yeah, it was a great tale. So
yeah, it's a great book. Yeah. Yeah. Well, we'll link to those in the show notes for sure. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah.
What's the next?
All water related, of course.
Yeah. Yeah, those are good ones. Those are all good ones. Yeah. What's the next outdoor adventure you have planned? Where are you going?
I have a paddle on Meander Canyon. It's through Meander Canyon on the Colorado River. So it's basically from Moab to the confluence of the Green River and the Colorado River in Utah. Cool. So I'll be stand-up paddleboarding that for about 6 days, I think. Yeah,
wow,
6 days.
Awesome. That's
fun. It's coming up here in the next couple of weeks. So.
Yeah, good for you. Yeah.
I've never seen the confluence of the Green and the Colorado, and those are very magical places. So
yeah, exactly. I don't think I've seen that
looking forward
either.
to it.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen pictures, but I've never experienced it myself, and that's that'll be really exciting.
That'll be special. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have any thoughts on how those of us in the industry can help mitigate the impact we're seeing? This is a new question that I've thrown into my show this last summer, basically, because of all, over here in the Eastern Sierra, we have some beautiful areas, and a lot of people wanting to get away from the pandemic and get away from life have been out camping, and we love that, but the impact has just been overwhelming. I mean, some of you've seen the stories and heard the stories of people pooping in the parking lots and trash all over. And so
I've seen it.
Well, exactly. Yeah, seen it, right, in some of the places you've been. And I'm just asking everybody that, since we are in the space, what are your thoughts on what we can do to help people be, how to be outdoors in a better, less impactful way?
I mean, I think a lot of it comes down to education. Having these outdoor spaces is a privilege, and with privilege comes responsibility. Yep. And treating these places as I don't know if sacred is the right word, but treating them at least with respect. Yeah. And trying to educate people on cleaning up, leave no trace, packing in, packing out, how to be responsible in the outdoors. Leave no trace is a big part of that, but trying to continue to educate people. And they're just, with the pandemic, there were so many people outside, right? And
everything just got overwhelmed. I think it was unique.
Overwhelmed.
Yeah. And our poor public agencies, I mean, I have some good friends here in the Forest Service, and they're just completely overwhelmed and underfunded.
Oh,
I mean, they got no money.
Yeah. Underfunded, overwhelmed, overworked,
right? Burned out, right? Yeah.
And so, a lot of that comes down to voting. A lot of that comes down to supporting nonprofits that are trying to make a difference in those spaces. Friends of the national parks, like Friends of Acadia, for example, they're doing really great work where, the government, the federal government doesn't have the funding to support some of those projects and efforts. So, supporting those nonprofits that are trying to make a difference in the outdoor space and trying to make it a welcoming place for everybody, and trying to instill that sense of respect and responsibility as we go out into the outdoors. Yeah. I think that's really important. And as a photographer and writer, that's a responsibility that I take, very seriously, trying to educate people through my workshops, for example. Right. Leave no trace, and no, we can't climb the fence to get the better picture. And no, we can't pick the flower to make it a better composition. No, we have to treat these as living places, living, breathing places that have spirits and that nourish us and give us so much. And so for me, it's a lot about respect and treating the outdoors and educating people on that. Yeah.
I'm with you. Yeah. How about a favorite piece of outdoor gear under $100? What's something that you just take all the time and, camping or whatever? May not be a camping thing. Maybe something else.
It's a little bit self-indulgent, and I have to say that I don't use it when it's 110 in Phoenix, but my favorite thing are my down booties.
Oh, okay, that's good.
I have a pair of, I've had Sierra Designs, I have North Face, but they're my down booties. That's, after you've just had of hiking, a long day, out in the field.
Feet in the cold water all day.
Slipping the cold water.
Yeah, I can relate to that. Yeah.
Slipping those booties on is like just heaven.
That's good. I think you're the first person to say that on the show. That's a good one. I haven't thought of that. Yeah, I haven't thought of that.
I have a lot of people who make fun of me and my booties, but I don't care.
Yay, exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
They're amazing. They're just
good for you. Yeah. Cool. I like it. Yeah. Well, we'll link to that in the show notes too.
Awesome.
Is there anything else you'd like to say to our listeners or ask of our listeners before we wrap up?
Oh, goodness. Yeah. I mean, we've covered a lot of ground here. I mean, I think if I had any parting words, it's obviously, to get outside and get out safely, But I think maybe more importantly, be kind to each other, be kind to the land, be kind to yourself. Let's take care of each other. Like we're all struggling in our own ways. We're all trying to just make the best of our lives. We're all trying to do the best that we can.
Yeah.
And so let's be kind and keep having fun. If it's not fun, stop and do something else fun. Let's make the most. I think, we covered this earlier, make the most of the one time you get through this life. And
that's good.
And that has a lot of different perspectives or aspects of that. But, I think that's what I would share with the audience.
Perfect. And you have a special offer for our listeners today. They can get, 10% off your guidebooks?
Yeah, 10% off all of my guidebooks through the end of the year.
Awesome.
If you go to Analemma Press, and I think it's OBC, is it OBP?
It's OBP 2020.
2020.
Promo
OBP
code.
2020. Yep, OBP 2020.
And Analemma Press, we'll link to that in the show notes. Yeah. Well, thank you for that.
Yeah. Hey, no, thank you. Hopefully it gets people outside and excited to discover new places.
Yeah, learn some new stuff. Yeah, cool. I forgot to tell you at the start, I'll erase this part, but when we say goodbye, don't hang up because I want to see how you thought it went.
Okay.
I always forget to tell people that.
Okay, good.
And where can people find you if they want to follow up? I'll link to your website.
Definitely my website. It's www.colleenminiuk.com. My last name is spelled Miniuk, or as I grew up saying, Mini United Kingdom, Mini UK.
I like it. Cool.
But I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram, and I have a blog. I have a weekly column that I write called Dear Bubbles. So cool. dearbubbles.com is another. So yeah, you can get all of that from my website though. So,
and we'll link to all that in the show notes too. Well, it's been great talking to you.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, I look forward to, face-to-face at one of the conferences or something. Get out there and photograph in Arizona. Yeah, it'd be fun.
Absolutely. I look forward to that for sure.
Cool. Well, thanks for coming on.
All right. Thanks.
All right. Take it easy. Bye-bye. If you want more of the Outdoor Biz Podcast, you can subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Be sure to go to the outdoorbizpodcast.com where you find all the episodes, show notes, and much, much more. Until next time, be sure to make time to get outside.